I'm learning a lot about some of you're filling in the gaps on some of this shit.
Yeah, you're filling in the gaps, Tony. You're a good gap filler.
Yeah, keeping Cliff alive, man.
Man.
I think about Cliff a lot still to this day.
Yeah, he seemed like a real special guy where even 36 years later, people are still missing him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So how easy is it? I mean, it wasn't an easy thing for anyone to find the fucking your address out there. I guess
6 miles. Look.
I'm not working tomorrow.
Oh,
I could take him out there and show him where it's at.
You could.
You
Yeah.
guys said
Tony,
you
that would be
said part of the experience when you were younger was that it was a trek to get there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yes.
It's not really that hard, but
Sure it was. No one could
You
find.
go out Cold Canyon Road for 6 miles, you make a right, and it's there.
When you get to the
I used to do it all the time.
when you get to the nudist colony, you've gone too far.
Yeah, you won't go too far.
Yeah, I used to ride my bike there. How many people were at these barn trips?
These barn jams?
Yeah, how many people?
It could have been 4 of us. It could have been fucking 60 people, 100 people. We had Cliff's wake out there actually,
That was a big one.
and actually the Metallica guys showed up.
We did have the wake out there. The wake jam.
Clifford's wake out there, and
We used to have jams out there, and there was like maybe like 25 cars, and who knows how many.
I remember a couple that we got.
dude, there were some.
Well, there was
big,
the one where
Ryan
was spitting fire from above the stage.
Oh my God, that's right. How about
He was
who's
like
the
drinking lighter fluid?
right? That was
on
the
the
guy
audience.
up in the raft,
Yeah,
rafters.
that was Ryan.
Yeah.
Our next door neighbor.
Yeah, there was some crazy shit. Like I said.
We had some gnarly jams out there.
Yeah.
So Clifford memory, me and Judd and Cliff and Corinne were after some barn jam, man. And we were jammed in the barn, and then everyone had gone. It was 3 a.m, and we philosophized in that room for
in the
hours.
shed, right?
Yeah, in the shed for hours and hours and
I
hours.
think I remember being there a few times.
Yeah. Well, because we used to have the big barn jams, and then that was like the off place where people would the people who were in the know.
I just
could hang out
remember
in that
when it
shed
was where the bees lived.
The masses were out.
Well, the masses were out littering the property.
You doing a Harold selfie, everyone?
All right. Cool. Oh, here, get him in front of me.
Why am I in front?
Because you're short, fucker.
We all in there?
Cliff!
Wait, I just got
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
pristine
Cole's
property.
the one with the nudist colony, right?
Cole's the one with
Yes.
the nudist at the
He's
end.
right.
Yeah.
He's butt up against
He's the
it.
nudist colony.
Yeah.
Butt up, get it?
But
butt
I
up
have to
against
say,
it.
Cliff and I never frolicked nude through the colony. So
Fucking
don't
liar.
include that.
Well, I met Cliff at Mike Borden's house. That's the first time I ever met him. Mike, I was dating Mike's sister, and I went over there.
What year?
This is in 77, 78,
Okay.
somewhere around there. And I went over there. Mike's just starting to learn how to play drums. And I'd go over there. I'd always hang out with Mike. If Kathy wasn't there, I'd just hang out with Mike. He's in there playing his little, you say, I'm playing my paradiddles on his little practice pad. And he goes, oh yeah, my buddy's gonna come over. He's playing bass. He's starting to learn how to play
Give me
bass.
the rudiments,
I'm going,
guy,
oh, cool.
Mike.
Dude, and then guess who shows up? Cliff. Met him for the first time, and it's like, he's really cool. And he's all like, I look at him, I go, you can smoke pot? And they both look at me and just start laughing. I go, let's go out back and smoke some pot. So that was the first time I met him, and I got to be pretty good friends with him, for the short time.
When you guys jammed, were you like just jamming, or were you doing tunes?
Oh
or?
no, dude! He'd go like.
You were just jamming.
It was
I
all,
jam.
you guys never, okay.
I did too.
We're going to do E.
Yeah. What the jam
For
was-
an hour.
Yeah.
We're going to
Yeah,
play an E for an hour.
Hold on.
And then we're going to change
and switch to A.
to A for an hour. And then someone discovered D, and it was like, oh my gosh.
Wow,
okay, let's do that.
Yeah, it was usually Bill. Bill liked D.
He's the instigator.
He did like D.
He loved
Right.
D.
He
You
did.
remember that?
He did,
Yeah. And
I like D too.
of course,
D's
Cliff
cool.
didn't care. Cliff always used to go to me. He goes, dude, what are you doing? I go, nothing. He goes, you want to come jam? I go, where? He goes, well, at Bill's house. I go, I don't want to go. He goes, come on,
I don't want to go.
Come on, man.
I don't want to go. There's a go.
Because it was 7th or 8th grade, so that's got to be me.
Okay.
7th or 8th grade, really?
So,
Your picture and his picture are right next to each other in the fucking...
so
Well, what year? Give me a
Cliff
year.
Burton Day at the Moose Lodge. This nice lady comes up and says, would you like to see a nice picture of Clifford from his yearbook? And this is very, very cool. It was Clifford in 8th grade from the yearbook.
You're right.
And I said, yeah, that would be me stoned with him in that picture right there.
You were standing in line to get your picture taken.
Quit
on
interrupting!
Picture day.
On picture day.
What was your first impression of him?
It was this. It was
That's a loaded
it
question.
was like this. It was like, fuck, man. This fucking sucks. And I said, yes, it does. He goes, you want to go get high? And I said, yes, I do. And so we exited the line for getting our picture taken for 8th grade photos, and we went behind the backstop and we smoked a joint, and we came back and
We're photo ready.
And the pictures in that yearbook say everything because we got these big it's Cliff Burton, the last B, and Joe Cabral, the first C. And he's got long hair, but I'm just kind of working mine. It's finally getting down, but you can tell that we're just all. Nice. It was very nice. It was very
Stoned out of your...
What you got? my
Oh, you got it, actually. There you go. Let's see what you look like.
Better get a signature out of him while
We
you
were
can.
so stoned.
Oh, look, he's Asian. I
Bang.
thought you were Italian. Look at Cliff. He always looked like that.
Look at the camera.
Jesus
Cliff
fucking
Cliff
Christ.
looks the same, but of course we never saw him get older. So, but
Jesus.
Joe, you look a lot
Joe, you
different.
had hair.
Fuck you. You stoned out in your gourd.
Look at Cliff.
That's Amy
Is
Morris.
this my fucking yearbook?
Where the fuck did you get that, man?
It was a gift from a friend for being the officiant to his wedding.
Wow.
Wow.
That is
That's
amazing.
Amy Morris.
amazing,
Or
yeah.
What is it?
Yeah, it's 80.
What?
Well, what year is this? 79. So
Castro
that
Valley
meant
High.
that meant
Damn,
8th
dude.
grade. Was it? No.
No, that
Why
would
does
be
it
your
say Castro
sophomore
Valley
year or
High?
junior, sophomore or junior.
Junior year. That should be junior year. Junior year. Well, you think that's funny?
Classic is what it is. It's fucking classic.
Kind of looks like Eddie.
Love the bangs.
Kind of looks like Eddie Van Halen.
Love the bangs.
So
man.
here's a question.
bangs.
Do you think Cliff would still be wearing bell bottoms at this point?
I know I would.
I kind of think he would.
Yeah. I don't think it would have changed. Blue jeans, bell bottoms, and a blue jean jacket.
No, he wouldn't have changed.
Badass. Thank you, sir.
He certainly wouldn't have fucking cut his hair, I'll tell you that.
Oh,
when
no.
Metallica cut their hair, he would have been like, I'm out.
Yep.
How about you? And
I'm out.
Let me tell you something.
Let me tell you something.
Life might have cut his hair for him. Cliff might have been going.
First time I met Cliff, I think, was at a trauma show. They were opening for Saxon.
How traumatic.
I'm
sorry.
The Keystone Poser Alto.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that was like 82-ish, right?
I think so, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we were all there, we were there to see Saxon, and we heard about this hot bass player, this amazing bass player that was in the opening band. And he was playing all lead bass and stuff back then even, so that's the first time I think I actually met him.
That was always a problem for us lead guitar players.
Yeah, exactly.
Lead bass
Cliff's
player.
lead bass playing?
I
And the fact that he was so much better at playing lead than you guys were?
No way, dude. That's the one thing that I loved about Cliff because he sounded so good. I could do anything and I still sounded okay.
I'm just going to play chords.
I go, I'll jam with you, man. Because he was so solid and he was always on it.
Well, the thing about Cliff's, I've said this before a million times. He cut a swath through the room like was this high, and no mosquito guitar tone could compete with that Morley pedal.
Yeah.
Wow.
Does somebody actually have? Does Burton have his first Morley?
I think so.
Oh wow, that thing was amazing.
But you talk about Cliff in the old
Gotta
days.
talk
You
about Bill.
got to
Yeah,
include Bill.
You got to include Bill because they were
That's
always
right.
together.
Bill
man.
said to me, he pulls up these rags, these paper stapled in the center, fucking heavy metal, whatever it was. The beginning of magazines. little square guys, and he'd say, "What's this, man?" Says Cliff Burton's God, man. Fuck, man. How come I'm not God? How come I'm not God? I said, well, Bill, because no one likes you.
He was jealous of a lot of
Fucking
bands,
prick.
actually.
You're a fucking prick, man.
Cliff and I Cliff and Mike used to go on looking for records all the time. You know, when I
Warped Records?
I had the car. They weren't old enough to drive, so I would, drive them around.
Chaperone?
We go to Warp Records. Remember Warped on
Llewellyn,
on
right?
Llewellyn,
Yeah.
in the old chicken
Oh,
coop.
fuck yeah.
In the
I
old
remember
chicken
that
coop.
place.
Yeah.
So we would go there, and he'd have all the imports, and we'd file through every import.
I got all my Pink Floyd there.
And, we would find all sorts of compilation albums of all these new bands that were coming out in England at that point. Like Iron Maiden, Ethel the Frog, Toad the Wet Sprog, all these bands,
New
And-
wave British metal.
Yeah. And that's what we do. We'd go and just go there, then we go to Walnut Creek. When Warp was out in Walnut, he had a store in Walnut Creek, so we go to these two different stores. Got to know the guy that owned the record store pretty well. And those guys are just always just filing through. And I had the car, so we just drive.
Right next to Blondie's Pizza.
Yeah. And then after that, we would retire and go, smoke a
Smoke
bunch of pot and listen to the albums that we got. So one night, Cliff goes, "Hey man, we used to go out Old Dublin Road, right? Out East Castro Valley Boulevard. This old Dublin Road.
I know Old Dublin Road.
So no one would ever go out there. Just a couple ranches out there. Let's go out Old Dublin Road and get high, man." So I got Mike Borden in the back, me and Cliff in the front in my Mach 1. We park out there, and we're smoking pot for probably a good hour. The whole car is engulfed. Cliff was sitting right there, right next to me, like I could barely see him. There was so much smoke in the car.
Hotboxing.
And out of the back I could hear Mike, "Hey man, I'm too stoned. You guys take me home." And I'm like, "What?" He's all like, "Yeah, man, I think I need to go home." And Cliff turned around and looked at me and goes, hands him the pipe and goes, "Shut up and smoke, you." So, okay. But Cliff lived there. He lived over what?
Was that Forrest or
You
the
lived on Stanton for a while?
Stanton? Because
No, that was after. Stanton was the last place he lived.
Okay, I only knew
lived
him when
in
he lived on Stanton.
That
lived
bottom
on the-
apartment.
In that
Yeah.
bottom
That's 'cause-
apartment in the
Because
first.
his
first-
mom,
Yeah,
his
they were
mom
the
used to
manager.
teach at Castro Valley High School when
Well, they
I
were-
went to
Oh, did
Castro
you?
Valley High School. She
Oh,
was
wow.
she was a teacher
Yeah,
there.
Jan was
Because
the-
I'm
she
like
was-
5 years younger than you guys, so I remember meeting
Keep
Joey.
saying that, and I'm feeling kind of.
Well, you are
old.
old. You're a
Ray-
lot older than I am, and I'm fucking old. So
Yeah, Ray and Jan, they were the managers of that property.
His
Of the
dad.
Stanton
Yeah.
apartment.
His dad was the
Stanton.
nicest guy. Yeah, I don't know how much but I used to go over there, and Cliff had joined Metallica at this time, and I dropped by and talked to his parents, and they showed me Metallica tapes of him doing gigs and whatnot. And his dad was a music lover. He was like into Chet Atkins and all this cool stuff. And he's just the nicest guy.
Yeah, Jan.
I just-
Yeah, every time he would come home and he'd call me up and he'd go, "Dude, what are you doing?" I was like, "Hanging out." He's all like, "Come on over, and my mom will cook us some food. We can hang out in my bedroom and jam." And then I would go in there and I think we'd be hanging out. He goes, "All right, here's a guitar. Now play this riff," and just keep playing it.
Now I got to tell you
Put you to
something,
work.
something
So he
about
just
Cliff that
just keep
has
playing it.
always
Just keep playing it.
has
And, like,
always struck me, and that's it. Because I used to go over there, and he had. What do you guys remember his influences were? It was like Rush,
Bach and
Bach.
fucking.
and he had Turn
Didn't he
On
listen to
Bach.
punk
That
rock
was one of
too,
the
and all
albums he had in
kinds
his
of shit?
room. He got into the Sex Pistols.
Thin Lizzy.
Well,
He
he came home one time from tour. Actually, I think I ran into him at a concert in the Cow Palace. It might have been AC/DC. It might have been Frank. I can't remember. Frank Marino, someone like that.
So didn't we go to that Frank Marino concert?
And then he's all like, "Dude, you should hear this band that I just heard when I was in Europe. It's U2."
U2?
Yeah, U2. He liked U2. Dude.
He liked
Yeah.
everything. He was.
He had a wide
vast
musical
knowledge.
variety. He liked all sorts of different music.
Skinner, and he was way into Southern rock.
Oh yeah, Skinner was. He was huge.
Yeah.
But you know what?
We all love.
You-
Yeah, I mean,
Well, you
I
can tell
never
by the blue
saw
jeans and the blue jeans
anyone-
ZZ Top.
jacket.
do do this headbanging thing with the hair going like this. And he used to do it in his bedroom. Like for Cliff, it was just a natural thing. You know, he just had long hair.
But it was addictive. If
but-
he was doing that next to you, you did it too.
I never saw anyone do that until after Cliff. I honestly have to say, I think he started that whole thing. I mean, you see guys doing it today, but and
Metallica house when he joined Metallica and those guys moved up here, they rented that house in El Cerrito.
that's right, yeah,
On-
which is
what
actually
street
right down the
is that?
street from
Carlson,
me.
on Carlson,
It's
right?
by Burger King.
3132 Carlson Boulevard.
Oh yeah, hey.
Yeah.
Well, that
Thank
just,
you,
So,
that
we
just
knew you knew
shows
that.
How much
And I
those guys knew that he
was just a
badass.
punk, man. I was just a little fucking guy. And I don't know how I would end
You
up.
were a punk.
I don't know how I would end up in the living room watching these guys practice or whatever, and end up at the Metallica house.
So
after
you were
whatever.
hanging out at the Metallica house with those guys.
Yeah, but he would go.
Because I had lost track
He
of it a little
knew.
bit at
He's
that
like,
point.
Dean, give me a ride home. I want to get the fuck out of here. And it was like 4 o'clock in the
yeah,
morning.
it was
at
the
that
El
point.
Cerrito
And I'm
Metallica house.
And I'm like, all right, because I had my mom's little white Courier at the time, and I had probably just got my license. I was like, I was probably fucking 16 years old at
That
this
would make
point.
sense.
All we did is every weekend, it didn't really matter what the fuck. We just ended up in the parking lot across the street from Ruthie's Inn.
Yeah,
And it didn't really matter
yeah.
who the fuck was playing. You would just go to Ruthie's every weekend,
Just to hang out,
regardless, just to hang out.
Yeah.
And I could be 14 years old. I could walk up to the bar and drink because they would serve me alcohol. So it was like just what we did.
Ruthie's.
And
was
when
the
I grew
hangout.
up,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
where I grew up. I mean, we grew up at Ruthie's. We grew up in the parking lot. Sometimes I'd go to the fucking parking lot. I would never even step foot in Ruthie's. We just hang out. And Cliff would drive up in the VW, open the fucking back, have the ice chest. We just start drinking, and sometimes we'd even go fucking fishing afterwards. Be there all fucking night, and we'd go fucking fishing or something.
It's like,
Wait, Tony's got a good. Tony, tell the Ruthie story. When Cliff
I saw
invited-
Metallica play
Cliff's
Ruthie's a
biggest
couple
mistake
times.
was inviting he and I.
So
what?
I hadn't seen Cliff for a while. He playing in
was it
Metallica.
once?
And
Terminal
he calls
shock.
me up and he goes, dude, I put you on my guest list tonight. Show up at Ruthie's. We're playing there. I'm like, all right, man, cool. So we all are invited. So we show up at the front door, me, Joe, our bass player, Brent Weeks. And then we go inside, and I'd never seen Metallica live. And so we're up right by the stage.
There weren't a lot of people there that night either.
No.
There was not a lot of people there.
And I'm up in the
But there
front.
was one
Was
poor
that
little white
Metallica
boy.
or Spastic
No,
Terror?
it was Metallica, dude.
So we're watching him, and all of a sudden I'm standing there, and somebody comes flying off the stage and lands on my head, right on top of me. And I go, what the fuck? I pick him up and I put him in a headlock, and I'm just fucking beating his head like this is my face.
It was either Toby Rage or Andy Airborne.
Well,
No.
maybe-
It was some. No, yeah. What?
I
What's
don't
it?
know who it was. So I'm giving this guy the knuckle shuffle on the fucking head. He's going, let me go, man, let me go. And fuck you, you land on my fucking head. Fuck you. And all of a sudden, these two gigantic black arms come up and engulf me. And this guy looks at me and he goes, let that white boy go. And I go, no, fuck you, man, he landed on my head. He goes, don't you know, that's what those little white boys do. They jump off the stage and they land on your head. You gotta learn to get out of the way.
It was Graham down there.
And I went, all right, I'll let him
Funny as
go.
fuck. Let that little
So
white
then you
boy
learn
go.
the ways of the mosh
So
pit.
then I just start jumping out of the way. So after the gig is over,
Yeah.
we're standing outside of Ruthie's, and Cliff just comes running up at me, and he goes, you're a fucking dick! And I go, what? He goes, that dude you beat up, that was my friend! I go, sorry, bro. He goes, hey, got any aspirin? Dude, he used to come off the stage always after playing, and you'd have a raging headache.
Yeah, that
Yeah, I
show was
wonder
pretty
why.
cool. That was a great show. Actually, me and Cliff kind of set up that whole show.
Oh,
Actually.
really?
Yeah.
Does anybody have any film of when Jimmy and Cliff played the Battle of the Bands?
Yeah,
I've
man.
seen that.
That's
I've
that's
seen that.
film.
The video
I don't
clip
know
of it,
who's
yeah.
got it.
Yeah.
Agents of Misfortune.
Yeah.
Yes.
It sounds like
Because
animals,
Yaz and I-
animals are being killed. In that,
Yeah,
that
exactly.
Yaz and
whole
I
time.
had Sonic Angel,
Jimmy is
and we
fucking-
did the same one. The same.
You in that same battle?
Jimmy's like,
Yeah.
dude, you got to come down and watch us at Battle of the Bands, man. We're gonna play down there. Wasn't the drummer playing
Hayward-
like a
Hayward High.
He was
He had
playing
the
drums.
he had the rototoms.
Yeah.
He had the big
The fucking
Dave
the
did not
horns.
have
It wasn't even a
Rotos.
full kit. Oh,